I spent over $10,000 on courses in the past 5 years, and here's what I learned. So this whole journey started when I was in college back in New Albany, right? I was watching tons and tons of YouTube because there were so many people, just hopping on different trends, Shopify for example, and just making tons and tons of money. And that's something I wanted to go ahead and be a part of. I wanted to do. I thought it was possible. So much so that I wanted to drop out eventually, even though I had no success. But that was always in my mind. I was always saying, I'm going to go ahead and do this, be successful in this venture, and then eventually drop out. Obviously that didn't happen. So I came across this guy named Kevin David on YouTube. He was probably one of the first pioneers, first big gurus on YouTube for Shopify. So I went ahead and dropped about $1,500 on the course, which was tons of money back then for me. Thankfully I had that, but yeah, it was a lot. So I didn't find that course, as fully valuable as these other courses I'm going to talk about. But that could also be partly because of me, because I wasn't super consistent with it. Eventually I did go through a bunch more stores and then eventually got my Facebook ads banned, and that's kind of what stopped me for a few years. And then eventually I tried again, but kind of kept failing. So the next course I actually did find some success in, and it's by this guy named Deutschlander. I actually talked about him in a previous video regarding phone flipping. I don't think I mentioned that I did take a course, but I did. I ended up spending roughly $500 on the course. And all the stuff he taught, I learned in YouTube anyway, but the biggest reason for purchasing that course was really for the contract, just to kind of save my butt if any legal matters might happen, or if I buy a stolen phone and I have to go ahead and go back report to the police. At least I have in the contract where it states the person's name, phone number, address, copy of license, etc., etc. And the reason I got into phone flipping was because I wanted to go ahead and sell a higher ticket item, because before that I was selling some stuff online, but it was just mostly anything I could find in thrift stores, Goodwill, Salvation Army, churches. It was really anything really. It was from mugs, clothes, board games. Eventually I did niche down to board games, which I found much more profitable, more consistent. But then, I'm like, hey, I want something higher ticket. Phones, boom. So overall, I do find this course valuable. I would recommend it, but the only reason I'm saying no to it now is just because I see that his account is inactive. So maybe he took the money and ran, or maybe he's not doing that anymore. Eventually I stopped doing phone flipping after a few months, mostly because it was a bunch of work, and I'm like, let me just move on to other things. Next course I took was a real estate course, and this was by Real Estate Express. And this was after graduating college. So after graduating college, being jobless for 3 months, having a job I hated for another 3 months, I wanted to go ahead and try something else, which is where real estate came along. I ended up taking this course, which was roughly $300, Real Estate Express, to be a realtor. At this time I was already doing car sales, but I actually ended up finishing the whole course, and then all I had to do was just sign up for that final test, which I was kind of nervous about, mostly because confidence issues. I didn't think I'd go ahead and pass or anything, so I wanted to study up more, and eventually enough time passed that I had to go ahead and retake the course. So I went ahead and retook the course months later. I didn't finish it through, and I did it for a third time, didn't finish it through. Honestly, it's probably for the best, even though kind of looking back at it, it's pretty dumb of me just to go ahead and take it so many times and not actually follow through. So in reality, that $300 course kind of ended up being almost $1,000. So at that time, the other goals I also did have was to get rental properties. And so I was thinking being a realtor would also help with that. But then in the back of my mind, I was like, are you trying to sell houses or are you trying to get them? So I didn't think getting the license was the most important thing. But then again, it could also just be the confidence issues. So after going through that, there were still other things in the back of my mind that I wanted to do, which was mainly drop shipping and just making money online. But I kind of shifted my focus thinking, oh, hey, yeah, let me just stick to real estate. And I ended up making the biggest purchase I've ever made, which was joining Ryan Pineda's course, and that was $7,000. So that included a rookie coaching program, a mentorship program, wholesaling academy, a rental academy, a social media academy. And I will say I didn't do all the courses. I forgot about the social media, so I'm definitely going to go back into this after I finish making this video, because I know that's going to be valuable. I stuck through it for, a little bit of time, but afterwards my mind kind of wandered, and I was thinking, do I really want to do this and pursue this? I want to go back and do something online. Don't get me wrong, like real estate is still, in here. I still want to do it and pursue it, but just not at this very moment. I'm glad I still have the course, so I can go ahead and refer back to it, so I know whenever I do go back to it, I'm going to go ahead and use the info they're telling me. Probably re-enroll in the mentorship too, just because it's good to be surrounded by the same people who have the same goals. So yeah, I understand if you can kind of find this dumb. I mean, I dropped 7 G's on something and ended up not using it all. I don't really care, because I know I'm going to go ahead and end up using it. And now what I do know about myself is I'm willing to spend money on education as long as I follow through with it and actually use it, because I know it's going to go ahead and be valuable. So overall, would I recommend this course? If you're looking to go full on, head on with some mentorship, being surrounded with people who want to do the same thing, being surrounded by beginners, intermediates, experts, having weekly coaching calls, yes, I definitely invest it. I find it valuable. I'll put a link down in the link below too, if you guys want to check it out. If you don't know Ryan Pineda, look him up. He's, you know, a really great person. He's also a person I also look up to, especially with the values that he holds with working and with family too, and then just separating everything, you know, including making the wealthy way completely free, just so you can go ahead and, you know, live your wealthiest life. So I know dropping those 7,000, you know, was a lot, especially since I didn't fully use it yet, but I know I'm going to use it in the future. I know it's going to help out overall. So I do recommend it. And so pretty recently, like literally this month, like the beginning of this month, I was kind of looking back and seeing what kind of assets I have, what kind of digital assets I have. And I was like, oh wait, I have a monetized YouTube channel. I should probably do something with it. So I went ahead and just posted a bunch of videos just on drawing, just to see what I can happen for 2 weeks in a row, just to kind of test the waters out. And, you know, I made very little traction. I made some traction. Actually, that was back in May. I made some traction, but, you know, I knew I needed some help. So then as I was doing a little bit more research, I came across YouTube automation. And I mean, I'm familiar with those channels, like The Richest, for example. They do top 10 things, top 10 luxury, whatever. And I was like, you know, this is something I can do. You know, I know I could do it. So I tried doing it by myself too. And, you know, I came across, you know, a bunch of channels like Automation, Ryan Hildreth. And I was like, if I want to go full on, head on, you know, I'd rather just pay for the information. That's when I had and signed up for Ryan Hildreth's cash flow channels, and I ended up investing $3,000 in that course. And it's been a couple weeks on it. I applied the information. I found it very valuable. I do recommend it so far. I applied his principles. I hired a team. And again, don't get me wrong. A lot of the information you can find online by yourself. You don't have to pay a course. You don't have to buy it. But if you do buy it, you're just going to get the information up front in a quicker manner. So instead of it taking me like a week to go ahead and do everything, it might have taken me, you know, a couple months to go ahead and get everything set up, especially to get things right the first time around. I also do want to mention that I only have 5 videos up right now. And even though, you know, they didn't get a lot of traction, they did gain some. And the fact that I have the systems in place for it to future-proof me, you know, I know it's going to go ahead and work out. I know it's going to be a success. I'm following everything he says to a T. He also does have weekly calls too. So if you're also looking into getting into some sort of membership, some sort of mentorship, make sure at least there's some sort of connection between you and the teacher. Like this one, I personally messaged him. He went ahead and replied. We're on the group calls. You can ask your questions there too. He's going to go ahead and answer to the best of your ability. And it's not like a 30-minute call either. It's a 60-minute call, 70, 80. I went through some of his old ones. Some are like 90 minutes too. So it's literally jam-packed with a bunch of information. And you're doing it directly through him and not just some random person. So overall, would I recommend this? Yeah, so if you're looking to get into the automation, you know, I have a link down below too if you want to check it out. Otherwise, just check out his channel, see what he does too. And so the most recent course I went ahead and enrolled involved affiliate marketing. And so if you've done a bunch of research, there's just so many different people who go ahead and do it. It's kind of hard kind of picking and choosing between which ones you want to follow, which ones you don't. So after doing a bunch of research, I ended up finding somebody named Bartlett. And he went ahead and enrolled in another course that I also wanted to do. He went ahead and went over his opinion, you know, said what he had to say. And, you know, as a person, you know, I kind of resonated with how he is. Pretty similar personality. So I'm like, you know what, you know, I can kind of go ahead and trust this guy too, because why not? So I went ahead and invested $1,000 in that course. And again, it's only been a week, so I didn't see any results yet. But I've been applying his principles so far, mostly with like social media, like how to gain traction on TikTok. And again, I'm always going to mention, you can always get all this information online for free. You can always find it. But what you can find is the things they do for you, the experiences they give you, the experiences they've gone through. So you went ahead and provided like 9 different pre-built funnels. You can go ahead and message him privately. He'll go ahead and respond to your DMs, which I have as well before. You can also get on live calls with, I believe, his assistant, which is still just jam-packed with value, so that's fine. And then they also do have the weekly calls as well too. And he has his own affiliate program on top of that too. And again, there's so many done for you things. He's going to go ahead and check your things. Just like Ryan Hildreth, he'll check over your work. Chad's also going to check over your work. And I will say, even though it's only been a week and it did take me quite a while to get everything set up, just because some stuff was confusing, but eventually I figured it out. I know as long as I'm consistent with what he says, consistent with what he does, you know, I'm going to go ahead and find success in the near future as well too. And again, if you're interested in checking him out, I also have a link down below too. So overall, what did I learn? I learned that me as a person, I'm willing to pay for information if it's coming from somebody that I feel like I trust, somebody that I feel like is an expert, and somebody who's done the things that I want to do. And I know people are in different situations. And then one of the most common objections would be like, you know, you could find all the info online. If they did it without info, why can't you do the same thing? And I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. If you don't want to pay for it, you can go ahead and go through it the long way, the hard way, or you can go ahead and pay for it for somebody who's already done it, who's made the mistakes, and then you can go ahead and listen to them and make sure you don't make the same mistakes they did. And if you fall off track or something, at least you have somebody there to guide you, somebody to help you out. And of course, if something seems sketchy, something feels like it's not going to work, then I mean, use your guts. My ex used to say, it's just a waste of money. You know, why would you pay for that? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? And you know, I see your point, you know, especially if you're trying to save money if you don't have a lot. But in the end, I'd rather just speed up the process and pay for information. I mean, people pay for college, but college is like 30 grand a year times 4 years to get a 60K job. I'd rather pay, you know, a couple grand for a course to make a couple grand in a month. That's going to be a lot better returns. And overall, I mean, you decide if you want to be successful. You know, if you're consistent with things, if you're constantly asking questions, if you're trying to find the right people around there, then yeah, it'll naturally happen. It's not going to happen overnight. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. And if you're interested in trying out any of these courses, I also left the links to them down below in the description. And if you have any questions, feel free to just leave it in the comments below too. Feel free to email me. I have that in my about section. And I'm also going to be posting progress on each of these avenues, mostly with the YouTube automation, affiliate marketing, and I also might try one more thing, which goes back to basically dropshipping, but that'll be a little bit more of affiliate side. So yeah, if you want to see these updates, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment below, like, and until next time, see ya.